Hey guys, today we are diving deep into Danny and Charlotte's reckless Windermere break-in, Jocelyn's desperate escape attempt, and the massive dangerous collision course they are all currently on. Let's get right into it. So let's just start with Danny because honestly this kid is a walking powder keg right now. And maybe I'm being too harsh, but you have to admit he's been completely out of control lately. Ever since he overheard that conversation a few episodes ago, you guys remember the one, Sonny Corinthos was having a chat with Rick Lansing, and Sonny dropped Nell while talking about Jason. Danny was just standing there, listening to every single word. He heard that his dad is rotting away in a WSB prison, and he immediately connected the dots to Sidwell. And from that exact fateful day, Danny has been absolutely bent on breaking into Windermere for revenge. He wants to take down Sidwell. He wants to free his dad. It is such a Jason thing to do, just charging blindly into danger without a real plan. But he's a teenager. What is he actually thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well? He thinks he can just waltz into a heavily guarded Cassadine fortress and play the hero. It's crazy, but I guess that's just the Morgan DNA kicking in. But Danny knows he can't do this alone. So he goes and recruits the one person in Port Charles who loves a dangerous, chaotic scheme even more than he does, Charlotte Cassadine. Of course he asks Charlotte, and of course she is all in with his plan. Charlotte is the ultimate teen rebel right now. She has been through so much trauma over the years, and sometimes I wonder what the writers are actually doing with her character. Like, are they trying to make her the next Helena? Because she definitely has that dark Cassadine edge to her. But having her team up with Danny for this Windermere ambush actually makes total sense. She used to live there. She knows her way around that creepy castle better than anyone. She knows all the hidden doors and the secret passages. If anyone can get them inside without tripping a massive security alarm, it is the blonde Cassadine princess. But even with her knowledge, this is a highly dangerous mission all around. They are in way over their heads. And we really need to talk about poor Rocco Falconry for a second. Because Rocco tried to stop this. He practically begged Danny and Charlotte to call off this break-in. But they just wouldn't listen to him. They completely ignored his desperate warnings. And the tragic part is they don't understand the real gravity of the situation because they don't know the truth. They don't know that Rocco was actually the one who pulled the trigger and shot Ross Cullen on the pier. Rocco has this massive, crushing guilt weighing on him. He can't even explain to his friends why. They need to stay far away from Cullen and Spoon Island. It is honestly heartbreaking to watch Rocco suffer like this in silence. The kid is an absolute emotional wreck, and Dante is finally starting to figure it all out. But for Danny and Charlotte, Rocco's warnings just sounded like regular fear. They brushed him off. And now they're walking straight into a nightmare. Nightmares, let's talk about Ross Cullen. This guy is a total menace. He is the WSB director, but he is deeply corrupt and incredibly dangerous. And he has a major sneaking suspicion about who shot him. Cullen knows that Jason didn't actually shoot him in the back. He knows Jason gave a false confession to protect someone else. And here's where it gets really scary for Danny. A while back, Cullen was at Carly's house and he stared intently at a photo of Danny and Jason. You could almost see the gears turning in his twisted head. The GH writers seem to be heavily implying that Cullen thinks Danny was the one behind the gun. Cullen is partly right? He knows a teen shot him. He just has the completely wrong brother in mind. It was Rocco, not Danny. But because Cullen suspects Danny, that puts a massive target on Danny's back. Cullen is stalking him. So Danny and Charlotte actually go through with it. They ambush Windermere. It's hard to say exactly how they break in, but like I said, Charlotte knows the layout. She probably suggests heading down to the tunnels to find intel. The catacombs under Windermere are basically the hub for all illegal activity in Port Charles anyway. So they sneak down there in the dark. But it immediately goes wrong. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Cullen is already there, and he catches them. Move now. That is what Cullen orders them in the preview. Just imagine the sheer terror in those kids' eyes when this menacing WSB director corners them in the dark tunnels. They thought they were going to play spy and get some dirt on Sidwell. And instead, they are staring down a guy who probably wants to lock Danny up forever. But wait, the story gets so much crazier. Because while Danny and Charlotte are getting busted by Cullen in the tunnels, we have to remember who else is currently trapped down there. Jocelyn Jacks. Jocelyn has been locked in a prison cell down in those exact same catacombs by Cassius, aka fake Nathan West. and Jocelyn is not doing well. But she is Carly's daughter and she is a fighter. A few episodes ago, she pulled her bed back and made an alarming discovery. She found a message written on the wall by Anna Devane, proving that Anna was held captive in that exact same room back on the 31st of October 2025. That was the spark Jocelyn needed. She realized she is in a legitimate dungeon, and Cassius is never going to just let her walk out of there. So Jocelyn starts planning her escape. She is brainstorming. She is getting creative. And the spoilers hint that she is going to make a huge, violent move in the days ahead. She's going to strike Cassius. With a chair. Yes, finally. Honestly, I have been waiting for someone to knock this absolute creep out. He has been so delusional, holding Jocelyn hostage while simultaneously delivering romantic pleas to Spencer upstairs. It is sick. So Jocelyn grabs a chair and just smashes it over his head. Good for her. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. She hits him and she runs. She runs for her life out of that cell and into the dark, winding tunnels of Windermere. And this is exactly where all these storylines are going to violently crash into each other, because you have Jocelyn running frantically through the tunnels trying to find a way out to the docks, and you have Danny and Charlotte in those same tunnels dealing with Ross Colton. General Hospital spoilers suggest that there is a very good chance the two teens will find Jocelyn. Can you imagine that scene? Danny and Charlotte manage to slip away from Colton for a second. They turn a dark corner and boom. They run right into Jocelyn. At first, they probably think she's a ghost or one of Sidwell's guards. But then they realize it's Joss, and Joss realizes it's Danny and Charlotte. It would be this massive, overwhelming moment of relief followed immediately by pure panic, because they are all trapped on an island full of monsters. But here is where we really have to talk about soap opera logic. Because in the land of soaps, a wooden chair to the head could mean absolutely nothing. It is a strange place where people can die after slipping on the last step of a staircase, but then live despite taking 2 bullet holes to the back. So is Cassius really going to be knocked out cold by Jocelyn? Maybe, but probably not for long. He could just shake off the chair, wipe a little blood off his face, and start running after her. He could be hot on Jocelyn's tail, and if he catches up to her right at the exact moment she stumbles into Danny and Charlotte, then what happens? If Cassius catches them, it is going to be a wild confrontation. It will place Danny and Charlotte in extreme danger, but it could also give Jocelyn 2 extra pairs of hands to fight off Cassius. Danny is tough. He has that Morgan fighting spirit in him. Charlotte is ruthless. She is a Cassadine who knows how to survive, and Jocelyn is running on pure terrified adrenaline. They could actually fight off this face-and twin together. They could tackle him to the stone floor, lock him in the cell he was keeping Jocelyn in, and make a run for it. It would be an epic, heroic moment for the teens. The fans on social media would absolutely lose their minds. People have been complaining for months that the younger cast doesn't get enough high-stakes action scenes, so this would totally deliver on that front. But we absolutely cannot forget about the Colum factor, because Colum is already down there in the dark with them. He already caught Danny and Charlotte once. If they run away from him and bump into Jocelyn, Colum is going to follow them. There is always the chance that Colum sees Charlotte and Danny at Windermere and follows them deeper into the tunnels to see exactly what they are up to. He wants to know why the kid he thinks shot him is sneaking around Sidwell's castle. So, you have Colum stalking through the shadows, Cassius recovering from a chair to the head and hunting Jocelyn, and these 3 kids caught right in the middle of it all. It is a complete powder keg waiting to explode. And Jen Sidwell is probably just sitting upstairs in the castle with Ava Jerome, completely oblivious to the absolute war happening in his basement. Honestly, I'm really worried about how this is going to end for them, because the spoilers specifically tease that Danny and Charlotte are in way over their heads. They thought they were going to play amateur detective. They thought they could just sneak in, grab a file on Sidwell, and save Jason. They didn't plan on walking into a hostage situation. They didn't plan on dealing with a rogue WSB director and a psychotic face-and twin. If they don't watch their step, this whole rescue mission could blow up in their faces in the worst possible way. They could easily wind up getting captured by Cassius or Colum. They could wind up sitting in a cold prison cell right next to Jocelyn, waiting for someone else to come save them. And think about what that would mean for the adults in Port Charles if these kids get locked up. Carly is already losing her mind worrying about Jocelyn being missing. If she finds out Danny is missing, too, and that they are both trapped on Spoon Island, Carly will literally burn. Windermere to the ground. She won't even wait for the police. And Britt Westbourne Britt is already taking massive, desperate risks to protect Danny and Rocco. She's currently planning to tell Sidwell that Colum killed Marcus Rios just to get Colum wiped off the map and neutralize the threat. If Danny gets captured by Callum in the tunnels, Britt's entire timeline is destroyed. She will have to act immediately, and that could expose her own secrets. And what about Daunt? Daunt just figured out that Rocco was the real shooter. He knows Jason took the fall. If Danny takes the fall for Rocco now, or if Danny gets hurt by Callum because he is protecting Rocco's secret, it will completely destroy the Falconry family. Dante will never forgive himself, and Lulu will probably take Rocco and flee town with Ethan Lovett's help, just like she's been planning. The ripple effects of Danny and Charlotte getting caught in those tunnels would tear Port Charles apart. It is so stressful just thinking about it. Sometimes I really wonder what the writers are aiming for with this specific storyline. Are they trying to make Danny the next Jason? Because if they are, throwing him into a dungeon at Windermere to fight a Faison is certainly one way to do it. Jason spent half his life getting locked up or shot at by Cassadines and Faisons. It's basically a rite of passage for that family.